look at Floyd. Like, Floyd spends money like it's a tap. Like, he's got a tap, just like unlimited amount of money. His money's just flowing. And even as much money as he's made in his career, which he's probably made as much, if not more money than any boxer ever. Like, there's all these lawsuits. Like, he hasn't been paying things, and he owes money on this and owes money on that. And it's like, and then he's got to come out of retirement.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I think it's just the lifestyle that Floyd lives.
Yeah.
I think he can't fathom to just live a modest lifestyle. It's like he gotta be lavish.
Right. He's got to have those videos where it shows you all the watches, where he opens the case up, you know.
All the money. You gotta show that he got $1 million in his backpack. And,
yeah.
You know, he got the latest watch and the latest car. And look what I just bought.
And when you get into latest watches and latest cars, you get into that, like, boy, that money goes quick.
Yeah.
Bugattis are like 3 million. There's watches that are 3-5 million. That's crazy. So you buy a watch and a car, you're down 10. That's nuts.
Joe Rogan didn't mince words when Floyd Mayweather's real estate claims came under scrutiny. During the podcast, he essentially stopped and questioned the figures, saying, "Hold on a minute, those numbers just don't add up."
And one of the reasons why people watch him fight is not because he's like Mike Tyson, just goes out and destroys people. They like watching him fight because they hate him. Because he talks so much shit, and he's like, look at my $1 million watch, look at my fucking jet, look at my house, look at this. He's like constantly showing you all these things that he has. Like, he'll lay out watches in a hotel bed, like, this is $1 million worth of watches. This watch goes for $2 million. And they're like, this is my small watch that I take sometimes, but when I'll show you, when I'll show up, I bring out the big boy, and it brings out this watch that's covered in diamonds, like $5 million. And so you hate him.
That Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment, his private jet fuel. He's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets, and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million loan from a individual, from a billionaire that had a 9% interest on.
Joe Rogan questioned the narrative surrounding Floyd Mayweather, pointing out that claiming ownership of dozens of valuable properties may sound impressive, but there can be a significant difference between making bold claims and actually having verified ownership.
IRS,
how much is it? It's in the $20+ million range.
It's a lot of money, man.
But it's not something that he's been, it's not like deception.
No.
It's just neglect to...
Neglect. And it's also like, I think, and there is like a truth to this, he makes so much money, there's probably a point when they're like, hey, it's time to pay your taxes. And you go like, all right, here's a check for $25 million. That's an incredible amount of money. And then they go, that's true, but you owe 50 more. And he's just like, that can't be right.
You know,
I've given you $25 million.
Yeah, he's bought over 100 luxury cars from the same dealer and always pays in cash.
He has $15 million worth of cars.
Because Floyd Mayweather built his entire Money Mayweather persona around immense wealth, stacks of cash, luxury watches, and a business empire that appeared untouchable. However, growing speculation within financial circles suggests the truth may be much more complicated than it seems.
Mayweather is made, and because he's the best in the history of pay-per-view at making sure that the money ends up in his pocket. He is or has been a businessman as an athlete that almost doesn't have a peer because he owns all his own stuff as an independent. Your spending has to be so fiscally irresponsible to lose the amount of money that Floyd Mayweather has lost that it is almost beyond anything that is reason. It's not merely fiscal insanity. It's something that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. And another sign of him maybe in financial trouble is, as of February 2026, Floyd Mayweather has initiated a massive $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Networks and former executive Steven Espinoza. So he's trying to get some bread right now.
The estimate is that he made over $1.2 billion over the course of his career in just earnings.
According to reports from Business Insider, 2 of Floyd Mayweather's commercial properties have reportedly entered foreclosure, while additional claims suggested that his Las Vegas strip club property could face seizure over unpaid property taxes. Adding to the concerns, several lawsuits have alleged unpaid balances on luxury watches and jewelry allegations that Floyd has strongly denied, and suddenly the conversation moves from displays of wealth to growing questions about his financial situation.
They said that, things that they said in this article were insane. That Floyd owes like $1.4 million in jewelry debts, that Floyd owes like hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a private New York apartment, his private jet fuel. He's not paid hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fuel and maintenance. He put up one of his jets that I think he even sold, but one of his jets, and I want to say one of his properties, like one of his homes, up as collateral for a $54 million.
The same report also stated that 2 Trump Las Vegas condominiums connected to Floyd Mayweather Jr. were temporarily seized because of unpaid taxes before being recovered once the outstanding amount was paid. It further claimed that a huge $5.4 million loan was reportedly secured using his homes, private jet, and business assets as collateral. Whether these issues stem from misunderstanding or overstatement, the gap between Floyd's public money persona and these reported details has fueled plenty of discussion. Joe Rogan's earlier doubts about Floyd's financial empire had already raised eyebrows, but then Chael Sonnen entered the debate with a much more direct approach. Responding to the ongoing "Is Floyd broke?" discussion, he essentially said, "Why is anybody even shocked by this?"
What's wrong with that? Why are we attempting to tease Floyd? Is Floyd, yes, he's broke. Of course he's broke. He's a boxer. If they say he can't read, that's not to tease him. They say that he can't read. His best friend at the time said he can't read, and he never denied it. I don't tease him for it. He grew up in a boxing town, right? I mean, it's one of these things. You know what you know. You know what you were taught. You teach him about contracts, and teach him about saving, and teach him about investments. Who would have taught him these things? Of course he's broke.
Turns the argument back on the audience, asking, if people wake up every week and go to work because they need money, why should it be surprising when a boxer keeps fighting for that exact same reason? And honestly, that feels like classic Chael Sonnen, equal parts blunt truth and deliberate provocation. But he doesn't stop with that point. Chael goes on to challenge the long-standing narrative around boxing paydays, arguing that many of the reported billion-dollar earnings and enormous pay-per-view figures often originate from promotional press releases rather than independently verified financial records. He points out that no one directly involved with the companies handling those pay-per-views has publicly confirmed many of the headline-grabbing numbers. With that observation alone, he throws years of hype surrounding boxing's biggest financial claims into serious question.
Got baby mamas all over the. What do you mean is he broke? Of course he's broke. What boxer do you know that isn't broke? What a ridiculous question. But it's the fact that they're attempting to tease him. I mean, first off, they're asking the question. Look, I've told you until I'm blue in the face. The numbers that you hear in boxing simply aren't true. Floyd made $1 billion. No, he didn't. Floyd and Conor made $500 million. No, they didn't. Of course they didn't. Nobody's ever confirmed that. And it's the same thing with the check. I got $100 million for a fight. Oh, you did? Who signed the check? Whoever signed the check is going to want credit for it. There's never been a time that $1 million check was written and the dude that wrote the check didn't make sure that somebody found out he wrote the check. So who wrote the check? Floyd's got a whole bunch of them, apparently. He got $1 billion. Who wrote the check?
Chael Sonnen isn't focusing solely on Floyd. He's questioning the broader narrative surrounding money in professional sports. He then turns his attention to the contract situation, pointing out that Floyd publicly announcing multiple fights while the rumored Tyson matchup was still being discussed would be enough to frustrate any promoter. In combat sports, scheduling and exclusivity are critical parts of the business. That's where the irony becomes impossible to ignore, because Floyd has previously accused Showtime Boxing of engaging in questionable business practices himself.
And I'm only sharing with you, like, the numbers aren't what you think they are, right? The numbers are good. They made a lot of money, but it's not what you think it is. And yeah, of course Floyd's broke. Would you be boxing if you weren't? And it's very tough to be sympathetic to.
While critics have accused Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s promotional team of creating similar confusion during the Logan Paul event, the situation begins to resemble a hall of mirrors, with every side pointing the finger at someone else. Yet the irony that Chael Sonnen indirectly brings to light is hard to ignore. People may question Floyd's financial status, challenge the reported earnings, argue over contract disputes, or dismiss exhibition bouts, but whenever Mayweather's name appears on a fight poster, the entire combat sports community immediately pays attention.
Whether owes Logan Paul $1.3 million. No, he doesn't. Just clear that up. No, he doesn't. Will Logan ever get the money? I think Floyd's broke. Floyd does not owe Logan $1.3 million. Floyd's promotion owes Logan $1.3 million. And no, of course he's not going to get it. That promotion's already shut down. Allegedly, by the way.
Chael Sonnen had already intensified the discussion surrounding the idea that Floyd could be facing financial issues. But then Jason Whitlock and his panel entered the conversation, and what started as a boxing debate quickly turned into a deep dive into financial speculation. At that point, it felt like the focus had shifted from analyzing fights to examining balance sheets. Whitlock opens the discussion by echoing Shannon Sharpe and Oasis Sports' perspective that Floyd's return to competition is primarily motivated by the pursuit of another huge payday. Once names like Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, and Terence Crawford are brought into the conversation, the business angle becomes impossible to ignore. Shannon argues that those are the only opponents capable of producing the level of revenue Floyd could be seeking. It's not merely speculation, it's essentially a list of boxing's biggest blockbuster attractions. Whitlock then references a famous line from Rocky, "Why do you fight?" And just like that, the discussion unexpectedly shifts into a philosophical debate in the most entertaining way imaginable.
Ocho Cinco suggested on their podcast that Floyd Mayweather is talking about coming back, unretiring.
He is.
Because he's broke.
Yeah.
Let's play the clip here of Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Cinco.
The only 3 fights that Floyd can...
That's exactly how Floyd Mayweather Jr. built his image, turning himself from pretty boy into money and making wealth, the centerpiece of his entire brand. Jason Whitlock highlights the uncomfortable reality that comes with that approach. When your public identity is tied so closely to financial success, even rumors of money problems can quickly dominate headlines. Dre then offers a more practical viewpoint, explaining that the real question isn't how much Floyd has earned, but what remains unknown about his liquidity, assets, debts, tax obligations, and overall spending habits. In other words, it's the financial iceberg hidden beneath the luxury lifestyle displayed on social media. As the panel jokes about gamblers losing fortunes, troubles, and extravagant spending, the conversation begins to paint Floyd's career as less of a straightforward success story and more of a complicated financial mystery. Yet the funniest part is that while some panel members question the wisdom of a fighter nearing 50 years old returning to the ring, others quietly recognize what every boxing fan already understands: if Floyd Mayweather Jr. announces a fight against someone like Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, or even Manny Pacquiao once again, all the people debating today will still be watching the moment the opening bell sounds.
$1 million, and he's 47 years old and he's completely broke. He's won the prize. This is, of all the idiots that we've seen out there, celebrities, actors, entertainers that have lost a lot of money, this guy would take the cake. To blow a bill before he even hits 50 is unimaginable. It actually is sad. It's a cautionary tale. We have seen it time and time again. But who actually wants to watch this guy fight? Like, people that love him. If he comes out and what if he loses and looks terrible and gets destroyed? Well, look, if you love him or hate him, you can say, well, he's nearly 50 years old. This doesn't prove anything.
Jason Whitlock and his panel had already transformed the discussion about Floyd's return into what felt like a financial trial. Then Andre Ward entered the conversation, and the atmosphere changed immediately from speculation and headlines to the perspective of someone who truly understands a fighter's mindset. That difference is impossible to miss. Ward begins by emphasizing that he has always admired Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s dedication and discipline, and it's a fair point because those qualities are often overlooked when people focus solely on the flashy lifestyle. He explains that the luxury cars, private jets, and extravagant image are all elements of the Mayweather brand, but beneath that image has always been a fighter who lived in the gym and embraced the hard work. When Ward admits he has mixed feelings about Floyd making another comeback, it comes across as sincere rather than critical. He isn't fueling rumors or attacking Floyd's motives. Instead, he's touching on something much deeper: that boxing eventually becomes a part of who you are. Ward explains that the adrenaline, the attention, and the enormous purses on fight night create a feeling that ordinary life simply cannot replace.
Part of that is because of the way Floyd Mayweather goes about his business. He's been filthy rich. He's made his name, his legacy, and a lot of his reputation wasn't just the boxing, it was the money. It's the money man. What I have, what I'm driving, what I'm living in, what I'm flying in. And a lot of people, they don't like that. I don't know if Floyd Mayweather had more supporters for most of his fights or more haters. But regardless of where you fall on that line, Floyd Mayweather made it work for him when many people, promoters included, networks included, early on didn't think that he...
That's the sort of insight only a former champion like Andre Ward can bring to the table. He then turns his attention to the possibility of a Manny Pacquiao rematch, and the discussion becomes even more intriguing. Ward argues that veteran fighters can sometimes deliver more entertaining action because they no longer have the ability to depend on non-stop movement the way they did in their prime. With less emphasis on footwork, fights often feature more direct exchanges, and that perspective challenges the common assumption that a matchup like this would automatically be dull. However, the concern Ward continues to emphasize is the reality of aging. Mentally, a fighter may still believe he's operating at the same level, while physically, his body may no longer cooperate. That disconnect has played a role in many unfortunate moments throughout boxing history. Even so, despite admitting that he would rather see both legends relaxing and enjoying retirement, Ward also acknowledges that curiosity is difficult to resist. When two all-time greats with lingering unfinished business step back into the ring, the entire boxing world ends up watching whether they intended to or not.